You look very pretty, by the way. I like your
Oh,
outfit and your hair.
thank you. This is
Yeah.
a new tank. We shouldn't have waited.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
Zach has to listen to this. But
No, I
this
think
is
the world should have to listen to this.
I'm Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right. Hi everyone.
All right,
We're
back.
Woo!
Yeah,
We did it.
and we have a slightly different model for how we're doing this. So, we realized that our episodes where one of us watched it and tells the other about it went just fine, and this way, we're gonna keep doing that and alternate, and then you'd think that a person would be able to have time to watch a single episode of the X-Files every week, but we
When
don't
you're these
always.
people, we
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Maybe yes. Maybe some people can.
yeah, yeah.
Those
Not
people
these
aren't us.
particular people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I watched. This is Liz. I watched the first episode of season 2, and then Helen is going to watch the next episode, and we'll kind of take turns taking the lead, talking about the episode. And I mean,
Should we
most
give?
of these.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, should we give like a little update of where we've been, what we've been up to? But you finish what you
Yeah.
were saying first. You were
Uh,
saying that I'm
we
gonna
will.
take the lead next time.
Yes, you are, especially because it's got, you know, uh,
Parasites.
parasites. Yeah.
I will
I
never
don't
get
know.
over
You'll see.
taking
It'll be good.
parasitology in college, and it was in like a gigantic lecture hall of like 200 people, and so the what do you call it? The screen projector or whatever was like enormous so that everyone could see. And so there'd be like giant pictures of like ticks
Oh,
in front of the
oh.
class. It was very, very
I
distressing for
I
me.
feel like if we're doing an update on what we've been doing, this isn't the main thing, but I found a tick on me back in May.
Oh
I think
yeah, that's right.
it was in May. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I couldn't even Google stuff about it because pictures of ticks would come up. And I
Ugh.
was like trying to find ways to like Google and be like, no image, no image preview. I
Yeah.
can't look at a picture of a tick
No.
on my phone. It's just too psychologically damaging.
I have another tick story that involves an update to my life.
Great. Great.
When earlier this summer, in early June, me and my family went to Tennessee for a vacation, and while we were gone, Leo, our scaredy dog, ran away. And he ran away from the dog sitter. He was gone for almost a week. He was living in the woods. And then thank God he like 2 days after we got back, he showed up at 2 a.m. Why are you pointing?
Because listeners might recall there's that episode EDE where there's that alien that just runs to and fro in the woods in Wisconsin. And we said it's like Leo. That's how Leo is. So this is just his nature. It makes sense.
Yeah, this is literally how Leo is.
Yeah, he was, and that's probably why no one could catch him, is he probably turned invisible and then shot people with his shocking powers. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. We know he was spotted near a horse farm, and so I like to think about him like eating horse feed and bedding down with horses at night.
Buddy, he should write a children's book about his experience.
He should. And he came back covered in ticks. That's the end of the story. He showed up at 2 a.m. barking, and it woke me up, and I went to get Zach and was like, I think that's Leo barking, but I'm too scared to go look because I didn't want him to like run away. And he showed up in our backyard again. Came inside. It was like he was like, all right, enough of that. The prodigal son needed to return, and he was covered in ticks.
So you got bonus pets, like
6 of them.
Yeah. So other updates in our lives. Helen is now a tenure track professor and moved and sold her house and bought a new one. And that's
I've been living in the same city for 17 years, which at that point was half my life.
Wow.
And so I moved to be less than a mile from work. And Zach now works in my same building, which is super fun. And I bother him for all sorts of stuff.
Do you feel that you get special treatment? Like, do you think that
Oh,
you're getting
yeah.
like
Yes, I'm
better
definitely getting special treatment.
staplers or like nicer paper or like I don't know,
No,
better classrooms?
I try not to bother him with stuff, but he puts up with a lot of my nonsense that I suspect other people don't show
And
him.
you probably like you wouldn't be able to display the same level of nonsense if it
Yes.
wasn't your husband in that role.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And he would be
You'd have to rein it
probably
in.
freaked out if like some other professor showed up and was like, okay, can we talk about money real quick? Like,
and you got a new dog? Helen got a new dog.
we got a new dog. Yes. So the Leo, the old one, showed up again. And he has always been remarkably more sane around other dogs. Ironically, the other dog we got, I would not call sane. But he's a lovable nightmare doofus, as you once saw someone comment their greyhound was.
Yeah.
His name is Gatsby, and he's a poodle.
Bad poodle.
He's a bad poodle. Yeah, he last night woke us up around 11:30 p.m. because he had knocked into our recycling that we had kind of hanging up. We had like a bin for it and broke a jar of pasta sauce. And Zach, thankfully, dealt with the cleanup, but then woke me up because then he had glass embedded in his feet that I had to get out.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, he eats a lot of things.
He eats a lot of things.
Socks,
like things that aren't food.
Our mom was holding a receipt and he just walked by, took a bite of it. Like, but he is possibly the cutest dog to ever exist. This might be it.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, he's really resting on that. And I mean, that's really it. He is probably pretty young. They said he was 3 when we adopted him. I do not think this poodle is 3.
No, that is a puppy.
Yeah, he's very puppy-esque. But Leo is like the happiest he's ever been. He's like wagging his tail and chasing after tennis balls, and so good. And William has been sleeping better because Gatsby is sharing a bed with him every night. So
except
William,
when he goes downstairs to check out the recycling.
Yeah. Well, he gets up sometimes and then just goes back into William's bed. But sometimes those wake ups involve
broken glass or eating laundry. Yeah. Oh, Gatsby.
Yeah. He threw up a pair of my underwear yesterday.
At least he threw them up,
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
The second night we got him, I had to take him to the ER because, as Zach put it, he slurped down a sock like a noodle. And I was concerned that was it for him.
Yeah.
So,
oh, buddy.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I am having a book published. Yeah. I feel like I'm saying that like, guess what, Helen? You didn't know this, as if I didn't tell you. Well, listeners, I am having a book published next summer. And I write the release date on so many things. That is why, if you looked on our Instagram, I briefly announced our return for September of 2024, because I just write 24 on everything. My novel is a young adult novel about a teenage girl on a junior roller derby team, and her dealing with social anxiety, a crush on one of the all-star players, and her parents' divorce. And she's like trying to make friends, and she's like super anxious and awkward, and makes a lot of bad decisions that I think are entertaining but bad. So I had someone read it recently and give me the feedback that like, oh, she made me so mad, but that's why I had to keep reading. It's not a bad thing. Okay. Right. All right. So and that is called Mighty Millie Novak. It comes out in August 20th of 2024. That could technically change. I'm not officially allowed to give that date because it we'll call it fall 24. It'll be officially locked down sometime in like January. But it could vary a little bit, but that is the plan.
Oh man. So cool.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited. We're working on stuff for the cover now. I mean, when I say
really?
we, I'm not involved, but they're like, that's happening behind the scenes, and they're
Oh
telling
my
me,
God.
okay, we're reaching out. Okay, here's the elements we want to involve. Here's the covers we like in the similar style. So it's all very
that's
real.
so cool.
Yeah. And I'm doing
Ah.
edits.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I read it, but it's been like rounds of edits ago.
It's
so
probably dramatically different. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I'm excited to read it again. I don't know if I should wait until it's
did
like
the
out
version
or
that you read have all the dinosaurs in it? And no, just kidding. I don't know.
Yes.
There's not.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
yeah.
There's like a bootleg fake version going around that has dinosaurs inserted into the narrative. I like that. So yeah, that's my big thing. We spent the summer in Europe again, Adam and I. We're gonna do it again next summer.
Yeah,
I got COVID in Europe again.
Really taken off.
Going well. Yeah. We're both very, very busy people, but we're also people who like the X-Files and having the opportunity to talk and have people listen to us. So we're making it happen.
Mm-hmm. All those things.
Yeah. Yep. So I have some X-Files related announcements or
go for it.
Things like that. So first of all, this fall, which is 2023, depending on when you're listening to this, if it's way in the future, it is 23 right now. This is the 30th anniversary of the X-Files.
Right.
Which is
that means Tooms is coming back.
It is
right?
a Tooms year. Yes, it is also a Tooms year. So
if
presuming Tooms somehow survived being shredded by that escalator in the episode from season 1 called Tooms, he would be eating livers again and then building his nest. So watch out for people stretching their way into your house. Your liver. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, like, there's been a lot of alien stuff in the news. Like in our world.
Right. I feel very similar to a meme that I saw that was something like I can't remember. I'm not going to try to quote something that I thought was funny. Basically, like, there's so much other stuff going on in the world. I feel kind of like, aliens. Okay. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess I feel like I'm always up for them doing alien stuff because it's bizarre. But okay, so I was reading something interesting about it. So first of all, I don't know why this is. I'm guessing just because it sounds, we don't have associations with it, but the government calls them UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, instead of UFOs.
That's weird.
And I just feel like they're just trying to rebrand and sound less crazy. NASA just came out with this report just a couple days ago. I guess there've been a lot of like sightings. I guess people have been saying they're seeing a lot of UFOs, and NASA was like, "We're going to look into it," and they were like, "We don't think it's aliens," and that was the conclusion. But then I was reading a op-ed where they were like, "Look, we should have government like clarity and openness about anything they're doing." And like that includes like UAPs, like could be a spy balloon, or they give the example, it could be a dude with a drone with a gun on it. Like, like other things in the sky. Like if our government is doing studies about them, that should be open to the public and it should be discussed. And it's like there's support, like kind of bipartisan support about this stuff, but it gets very.
That is such a weird thing for like people to finally agree on.
I know, right? Yeah.
Paid parental leave. Let's talk about aliens.
Yeah. It's like the only common ground we have. But I guess what this article was saying is like, look, there's like real reasons to talk openly about this stuff, but it gets hijacked by lunatics very easily, and like conspiracy theorists, and how it's like a problem that like if the conspiracy theorists get super into it and are all like, oh, you're being open about it, and you're saying, well, we don't think there's any aliens, and then you're going, you're lying. You're just further eroding trust in the government that's already low, and like encouraging bad things. So I don't really know what the point of the op-ed was, to be honest with you, as I'm saying it, other than like conspiracy theorists who spread lies are bad, which seems
true.
pretty true.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. Unless
but
they're
yeah,
the lone gunmen. Those are the only ones I
they're not
support.
spreading lies, though, as far as I
That's
understand.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now in real life.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Cool.
I feel like timely. And then I guess I'll go into talking about our episode today.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
And so Helen did watch this episode somewhat recently. I want to say,
Right.
9 months ago, something like that?
Yeah,
So
something like that.
probably sort of fresh in your head. So
Yeah.
I think that this episode makes a lot of sense if you think of it as, so this is season 2, episode 1, Little Green Men.
Yep.
And I think it makes a lot of sense if you consider that like the X-Files kind of built a following as it went during season 1. And so I think they really wanted to have a good launch with season 2 to bring in more viewers and have something that sort of set the tone. And so I feel like some of it was a little bit like repetitive and a little bit like, we're trying to set this up in a way that someone who didn't see season 1 or maybe just saw the end of season 1 can jump in and like feel like it's a start.
Sure.
And so ultimately I didn't find it that interesting. The main idea is Mulder having to go to Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico because of some things that are happening there that I will talk about. So it opens with
I thought that was going to be it.
And that's it. And our episode is over. Welcome back. No.
Some things that happen. You can guess.
Things happen and then they stop happening and the credits roll.
Yeah.
And I do have a weird little tangent about The Offspring. So
The Offspring?
We'll
the band?
The band. So we'll get there.
Huh. Okay.
So it opens with the Voyager Golden Record, which we've talked about on this podcast before.
Right.
It is the thing that they sent out with the Voyager spacecraft that's like, here's the stuff we want aliens to know about people. And they are playing Bach's Piano Concerto number 2. The Brandenburg Concerto. Yeah.
This is one of the few things I remember about the episode. I remember 2 things about this episode, one of which is Bach, because Mulder ends up talking to a senator who is like really into Bach. And Zach, my husband, the editor of the show, is also very into Bach. Or at least he had to be. Yeah, he had to be by necessity because there's a bunch of like Bach cello concertos.
Okay.
And he was a music major and played the cello in college. And so you actually walked down the aisle to a Bach song? That's weird to say. You did. That was Bach. Yeah.
I thought Zach wrote that.
He wrote that?
I thought he made it up for me.
I mean, he's talented. I don't know that's Bach.
I should be recording somewhere that song Zach wrote for me to walk down the aisle to. I mean, just somebody who's not a musician, to me, it seems like, look, he made up our theme for our podcast. On a
bunch of like car commercials and stuff, though.
Is it?
Yeah. Zach, you should include here a little snippet of what we're talking about.
I had no idea.
Oh, that's really funny.
It was great to walk down the aisle too.
I
just, when I got married, if you didn't know me when I got married, or you don't know me in real life, in which case I definitely wouldn't have invited you to my wedding. It was very hands off. I had my priorities, and then the other stuff I just outsourced to people I trusted.
It wasn't hands off. It was hands off for you.
Yes, it was Liz's hands off. Yeah,
which is fine.
I mean, I told Helen, I need flowers.
Yep, I got them for you.
And then I got flowers. I didn't care about the color. Helen told me my wedding colors. I don't remember what they were. I know one of them was red.
Yeah, red and black and cream.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And Zach wrote me a song. I thought to walk down the aisle to. No, my goals were end up married to Adam, look as hot as possible, and dance all night. And I did those things. I
You
achieved
did
all
those
three.
things.
So
You did.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, right.
and
So the
yes,
golden record,
so Bach,
Zach was not on it.
no, Zach didn't have a piece on there. Wow. Yeah, I feel like it changes everything about my marriage. No. No, no. So they're playing that, and Mulder's doing a voiceover, and he talks about how it's being sent out into space so other civilizations can maybe encounter it. And then in 1992, the high resolution microwave survey was created, where telescopes would try to look for signs of alien life. And it only, I mean, okay, keeping in mind, this episode came out in September of 1994. So
Okay.
29 years ago from right now. And so in 92, so only 2 years before the episode aired, they created this high resolution microwave survey, and it was shut down the next year by a first term senator named Richard Bryan. And
Oh,
Mulder says that in the voiceover. And so I was thinking, is this fictional? Is Richard Bryan
right.
maybe like in the X-Files? No, he is real, and he did that. And that's kind of like,
Why?
he didn't, his thing was, we have seen he was really anti-SETI. Like that was his main notable thing, is that SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. He was just like, why are we wasting money on this? We've never seen any evidence of little green men. Hey, that's the title of the episode. Yeah, he was just like a senator who was like, no, stop this nonsense. We don't give
Wow.
any more money to this. Yeah, which I feel like annoyed by
Yeah.
personally. Not that I feel like, oh, it's so important we find, I don't know, space squid or whatever is out there. I don't know
Right.
why I said squid.
God, I hope
It's not
so.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be okay
it
with
doesn't
that.
matter. Yeah.
Squid are
But
the
like,
aliens of the sea. That's why.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I'm just writing that down. It seems important. So, squid are the aliens of the sea. So yeah, Richard Bryan, he cancels it. I feel like, I don't know, don't cancel science. Like, I feel like,
Yeah.
again, we can never predict what we're going to discover as we push forward with
Mhm.
other things we're interested in, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. So that was shut down. And they show then what looks like a shutdown, like telescope control room. And all of a sudden, that Bach piece, that Brandenburg Concerto #2, starts playing, and
Right.
lights start coming on. And then we get a scene that says that, like, okay, the X-Files were shut down, and then cue the theme music, which just always makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
then we see, okay, so now about the offspring. Mulder is listening to these like surveillance tapes of what sounds
Oh,
like
yeah.
kind of a
Mhm.
stereotypical gangster. And he's like, it's two dudes having a conversation about a stripper. And like they were
Mhm.
at a strip club. And I don't know. I found this really weird that they go out of their way that to have one of the guys mention, oh, she was dancing to that song Come Out and Play by The Offspring.
Huh.
I just thought it was strange. The song came out in 1994. It was their first single off their album Smash. I mean, can you picture how it sounds?
Yeah, and I'm trying to imagine, could you strip to it?
I mean, technically you can strip to anything, including that Bach piece that I walked on the aisle to, I assume.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, I guess that is weird.
I mean, like, I guess, yeah, it just seemed like they never mentioned music, and all I could figure is that someone was like, hey, this is their new single, and I work as a record executive. Work this into your show. I couldn't find any evidence of that, but otherwise it just seemed strange. Or maybe it was like one of the writer's favorite new songs. It's about gang violence, so it's not.
Oh, is it?
Like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I should look into The Offspring. I know that sounds really strange, but William, my 9-year-old, has been, which by the way, 9 sounds super old, and I kind of hate it.
Yeah. You know what? You're his mom. Just give him a new age. Make him 8 again.
He has been really, really into both the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Green Day, and has started listening to Nirvana now. And I am getting really sick of all those bands.
Are you thinking to yourself, Liz moved out at 18? Why am I now hearing it all again? I thought I was free of this.
Well, no, I mean, like, see, that's the thing. Some of these people's songs I like, but I don't want to listen to all of them, and I don't want to listen to them on constant repeat. So my thoughts were going, well, maybe he would like The Offspring, and that would introduce at least another band to the mix.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know, you know that Dexter Helen, the lead singer, I believe has a PhD in biochemistry.
No, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
It might not be biochemistry, but it was definitely chemistry.
Whoa.
Or biology. One of the two. Not
biochemistry is a good guess.
Yeah. But yeah, he has a PhD in science. Yeah.
Wow, cool.
And like,
so what you're saying is that I could be the next Dexter Helen.
Dexter Helen, yeah. Yeah, Dexter Helen. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I think like, he was playing in a band while going to school, and then The Offspring just kind of blew up. So yeah.
Wow.
So that seems like something you would also enjoy researching when you research The Offspring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And like, so the scene ends with like the other guy, or the guy saying like, I was just laying bills out, like bill after bill on the table or something. And then the guy goes, it's not a long song, is it? And that was the end of it. And again, it's just really weird to me. I looked at it, it's 3 minutes and 17 seconds. It's not a long song.
Yeah.
Anyway, it shows Scully then teaching an autopsy, and she kind of goes into a weird little monologue about the person was alive once and had thoughts, and they were in his brain. And then Scully sees Mulder in the hall, and he ignores her. So she like leaves him a secret note, which is a post-it on a picture of Samantha on his desk, and then she turns it face down. And they meet up in a parking garage in DC. I'm trying to get a sense of like inflation and stuff. So if you, Helen, were parking in a government building in DC for an hour, what would you expect to pay for parking?
Oh God. For an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
10 or $15.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
granted, I have never been to DC. So this is I'm basing
or
this
like
off
Chicago,
of what I would
let's say.
Milwaukee, I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like whenever I drive to downtown Chicago, it's always more expensive to park than I expect. But Mulder has a line where he says $4 for the first hour of parking is criminal. And I thought like $4 is actually more than I would expect it to have been in 1994. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I would expect like
expensive.
2.
Yeah, I was like, that is kind of expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they mentioned Deep Throat, and they kind of, again, you can tell they're kind of giving context to someone who hasn't watched it before. Mulder's like, we're being watched, we can't talk to each other, and Scully just clearly just wants to kind of check on him. And that is when Mulder talks about the Palomar Observatory in California and mentions George Ellery Hale and says, George Hale, I mean, this observatory exists, it's great.
Okay.
And he says, George Hale had an elf climb in his window and tell him to get money from the Rockefellers for this observatory. And
is that true?
Sort of. And so
I'm not suggesting.
It was a real elf. They interviewed him. No. And so Mulder makes a point that he feels like that, except with little green men.
I see. Okay. Well, because
finish what you were going to say.
Son of Sam, David Berkowitz, he didn't actually hear his neighbor's dog talking to him. He didn't? No, that's just like, he said that kind of like to try to plead insanity, essentially.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was pretty quickly admitted that was not the case.
I had no idea. Well, this is kind of, I mean, it's not the same. Well, for one thing, it involves an observatory and not murder. So it's different. But yeah, if you look it up, there's a lot of places that reference George Hale seeing an elf. But if you dig a little bit deeper, and I sound like a conspiracy theorist, I'm not. I was reading excerpts from a book. No, I don't know if it's mistranslation or just taking things the wrong way. And then like sort of like a game of telephone. So George Hale did have some mental health issues, and he struggled with depression pretty badly. And it seems like his mom always had issues and like kind of was couldn't leave their house, had a lot of depression and anxiety. He was sort of similar. And so he writes this letter to a friend while he's in Rome. And he says, now I can't keep my mind on the subject as a little demon stands by my side and every few minutes prods me with the suggestion that, after all, this book is not interesting and all my attention belongs to him. How to escape this new form of torture, I do not know. And he references this little demon a few more times. And it seems pretty clear that it's like metaphorical.
Yeah.
Not a literal small demon or elf.
Got it.
So
weird. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like, how many things have I said off the cuff that if like,
yeah. Oh God.
You know,
yeah.
Right?
This past hour alone. I mean, so Mulder is referencing that.
Yeah. And so he's like, I don't know, maybe none of it happened. Maybe Samantha wasn't abducted, which is weird because, well, then where is she?
Right. Clearly.
So I think he means like by
happened.
aliens. Yeah.
Right.
Scully's like, I believe in you. Don't give up. And then they flash back to Samantha's abduction. And it's different than they talked about in season 1. Because in season 1, Mulder says he was like in his bedroom and like hears it or something, right?
I can't remember. What I remember is what they have shown, and I don't remember when this was.
Gotcha.
But I remember a living room.
Yeah.
And like the TV being on. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember.
And that's what they show here. And they have like a kid playing Mulder who looks a lot like him. I looked up to see if he was in anything else, but not really. He was in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Ooh.
But yeah. So yeah, we like a big light comes on. Samantha is levitated in the air and zoomed out the door. And then we go back to present day, and a dude shows up at Mulder's apartment and is like, "We're going to the Hill," and he takes him to Senator Matheson, the guy who likes Bach.
Right.
And he's playing the Brandenburg Concerto. Starts talking about the Golden Record, and then like writes down a note that says they might be listening. And then says out loud, "Do you like Bach, Mulder?" And Mulder says, "I live for Bach." And they play the song again. And he tells him, "Go to Arecibo, but you have about 24 hours because the Blue Beret UFO retrieval team has been authorized to use terminal force."
Oh my God. That's like the most 90s thing I've ever heard for some reason. Like, it just sounds so ridiculously made up, and I don't know.
And like they never reference that again. I kind of got this feeling like it was written so that we could then talk about like, oh no, the Blue Berets are coming. Like they're going to be a common recurring enemy. For what it's worth, their berets looked black. Maybe they were a very deep navy when you eventually see them. What they reminded me of most, even though it's not like they looked like them, but it was the same vibe as the Central Park Rangers in Elf. Yeah.
No, Arecibo, is that the same place that was in Contact? The movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
So, yeah. Except there, it's still observation. I'm typing the word observatory. That's why I said it. Yeah, except there it's operational. That's the word I was trying to say. And yeah, that is where Contact was. Where Jodie Foster is kind of in the jungle.
So it was shut down then? There was a time when it became not operational between Contact and the X-Files?
So Contact was actually filmed after the X-Files. So it's a little confusing to me. Yeah, it was the Arecibo telescope was shut down, but not. When was it shut down? I'm sorry. This is not compelling listening.
What are you finding?
Yeah, okay. So it's a little weird. It has been shut down, but only in like the last couple of years, and it took a lot of damage from Hurricane Maria in 2017. And like I think part of the issue is that NASA is contributing less and less money. In general, it's getting less and less money. And eventually it's shut down, but they still have like a visitor center and some science there. It's just not the main big telescope. But when what we see in this episode of the X-Files is like a completely abandoned in the jungle telescope, which is kind of weird. So I wasn't really clear on that. I don't
Right.
know if I missed it. If somebody else watching this understands, let me know.
Yeah.
So Mulder heads to Arecibo. Scully Skinner talks to Scully, and it's not always nice to see Skinner. And he's like,
Oh yeah.
Mulder didn't show up for work. Where is he? And then what you don't actually witness the conversation, you witness Skinner and cigarette smoking man listening to the recording of it. And Skinner's like,
Oh,
see, Scully is too worried. She doesn't know where he is either.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, so
Now,
go ahead. Yeah.
one of the other thing I remember about this episode is that there is a pretty stereotypically awful representation of a local worker that Mulder talks to in Costa Rica,
Yep.
and he ends up
Not
dying.
Not Costa Rica,
Oh.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Oh,
Yeah.
and he ends up dying, right?
Yes.
And this is the part I especially remember. Mulder wants to try to sneak his body out, which like he snuck in to Puerto Rico. I don't know how he thinks he's going to get back out with a body.
I have 3 words for you, Helen.
What?
Weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it makes no sense. I have some questions about how Mulder got into Puerto Rico to begin with. Because Scully tries to find him.
This was pre 9/11. There was some.
Scully looks at like Scully gets some stuff from his computer. She has to guess his password. Would you like to try to guess Mulder's password?
Oh yeah. Is it something about the Knicks?
No, it's not. It's not funny.
Okay.
It's like serious, mysterious. I don't know. Thematically
Trust no one.
Haha! Nice work.
Is it?
You got it in 1. Scully took 3 tries. But how is it spelled?
Oh no. With a 1? Like with the number 1?
Yes. Yeah. So she types in spooky, and then because who would use their own nickname as a password? I don't know.
Oh my god, now I want to.
Yeah, I know. And then she types in Samantha, and then she types in trust no one, all one word, and the number 1, and gets it.
Impressive.
Yeah,
that is impressive that she did that.
Yeah. And so 2 dudes show up, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, I heard he's gone. I'm feeding his fish." And then she prints out the stuff that was on the screen, which are these like galactic coordinates. And she manages to get them
coordinates.
Yeah, like locations of stuff in the sky. So like if you picture like latitude and longitude, except for the sky.
Okay.
And so then they show Mulder meeting this guy Jorge, who's just like, I don't know, it had this like real icky vibes of like scared local, can't speak English, frightened by big light in the sky. I was not into it at all. But the guy draws an alien head, like he's clearly afraid, and he saw something. And it looks like he saw an alien. Scully talks to a random professor-looking guy from the Naval Observatory then, who looks at the pieces of paper that she brought him with the coordinates and says, "Oh, this is like the WOW signal," which is a real thing. Where the guy in the show says, "My buddy Jerry Amon," which Jerry Amon is a real person. So I like the idea that they tried to make it like he knows him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was the discovery of this signal in the sky that looks like not random. It's not part of like the background radiation that we would expect. And so it's kind of like the radio signal that shows like the best possible evidence for alien life. And the reason it's called that is because he wrote "wow" in the margin on the paper. It looks like something that wouldn't occur randomly, and it appeared to be deliberately being focused when the telescope was taking the data or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, he just analyzed a bunch of radio signals. This was in 1977, and it hasn't been replicated. It's probably nothing, but I mean, it's kind of neat. I don't know. So they mention that, and they say this is even more than that. And so the guy they don't think they even give him a name. He mentions some different places at SETI where there's research being done. And one of the places he mentions is Arecibo. And so in the next scene, they show Scully having printouts of flight manifests to all the different places that guy just mentioned.
Oh,
which
wow.
should be more than just 4 or 5 pieces of paper, as far as I can tell. Yeah. And she figures out that Mulder has gone to Puerto Rico because on one of those flights, someone named George Hale is flying.
Oh.
So,
oh, jeez.
I don't know. I feel like,
and I'm guessing George Hale had already like died at this point. It couldn't have been George Hale.
He must have. He was born in like 1868 or something like that.
Okay.
But it could have been a different person named George Hale.
Yeah, that's not that weird of a name.
Mm-hmm. So she figures that out. I don't know. I just feel like, also, how do you just contact all the airlines and you just, or like maybe,
well, she's in the FBI.
Or whatever. Yeah, she's in the FBI.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know how many people are taking flights every day, and Washington has like lots of different.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like there's so many different airports. I don't know. Working in travel and booking flights for people, I feel like this is madness, Scully.
Yeah.
You know, like, like think about how many flights leave Madison every day. I know it would be narrowed down thinking flights from, Dulles or Baltimore or wherever, nearby, going to one of these like 7 different places within 24 hours. Still though. Anyway, she finds it, she figures it out. She gets there really quickly. And there's like a tense scene where she knows she's being watched at the airport, and she calls Mulder, his answering machine, and says, CA 5197059550. And there's clearly people monitoring Mulder's answering machine. And then the people who are watching Scully in the airport are like, oh, we lost her. And they're like, it's okay. Now we know where she's going. She's on Caribbean Air Flight 519. And so she was like saying that to trick them or whatever.
Oh, I like that.
It's to St. Croix. And so, so she gets to Puerto Rico, and somewhere in here, we also see Mulder is looking at more signals getting printed out from the machinery, from the equipment in this observatory, and says like, oh, this signal's coming from only miles away. And the tape recorder starts going and playing the Bach song again. And then Jorge just like runs out all afraid.
Okay.
And then Mulder finds him dead in a storm, and he looks like frozen from fear. And then there's like a scene where Mulder's doing an autopsy on him. And he
my God, that's right. That's the weirdest thing. He would have no idea what he was doing, presumably.
He says he's of unknown age. And I feel like, yeah, but couldn't you take a stab at it? I don't know. The guy isn't 15. He's not 90. Like, why are you bothering to say that? But he also says he had signs of intense cadaveric spasm. How would Mulder know what that means? I didn't know what that meant. Mulder's not a medical doctor. Do you know what that means? It's fine if you don't. You don't do autopsies.
Yeah, no. Cadaveric, that's the word that's throwing me. No, I don't. It sounds familiar.
It's one of many terms for like an instantaneous stiffening of the body at the moment of death.
Oh.
So, okay. I just felt very skeptical that Mulder would know that. But and then he goes, it looks as if he's been frightened to death. Which was a bit much. Yeah, and it kind of just turns into like a monologue to Scully about like, I don't trust anyone, and Deep Throat said to trust no one, and I don't know what to do. And then stuff starts shaking, and there's lights, and it's scary, and like the door flies open, and Mulder just starts like emptying his clip, but like the gun won't fire. And I just felt like, I don't know. Like,
seems a little irresponsible.
I guess, like, look, have I ever had aliens try to abduct me? Not as far as I know. If they have, they've done a very poor job. I didn't even notice. But yeah, like how would I react?
They did a very good job.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was just re-listening to our episode where we talked about what was more likely, me being abducted or learning to dunk a basketball.
So
50-50.
I will say that there's a story, I know you know this, but there's a story our dad tells about being in the army in Louisiana, and they had, giant spiders there, and his partner in the army was so freaked out that he pulled a gun on a spider, and our dad had to talk him down from shooting the spider. And so I think about this fairly frequently. Kind of when I see a spider and kind of wish I had a gun. So yeah, I mean, I get, but you know what? I'm not trained in anything. No, that's not. I'm trained in a lot of things. I'm not trained in.
Get this job.
I drove myself here. Yeah. Anyway, he should probably know better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that example with the spider shows perhaps how someone allowed to carry a firearm should not behave.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we're talking like Lord of the Rings style. A big guy.
Shelob.
Woman. Yeah.
Shelob. Yep. Shelob.
Yeah.
Daughter of Ungoliath, I believe. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I know. Hold on. Let's see.
You know Shelob's parents?
Mother. Ungoliant. I was very close.
Wow. How did you know that?
Well, when people who were in their late teens were, going to parties and dating, I was reading the Silmarillion. So.
Oh, no, you were in your mid-teens. By your late teens, you did stuff.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like by your late teens, you had my ID. So,
yeah, that's also true. Yeah. Mid-teens.
We look a lot alike.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. So that's in the Silmarillion. They're like, hey, here's this.
It's in the Silmarillion.
Mm-hmm. And then the spider's like, I got this baby.
And I remember because just the other night I went downstairs to get a drink of water, and there was a spider in our kitchen that was very upsetting. And I know I'm not a fan of spiders, so it might seem like, I'm
like it might have just been teeny, but
right,
no,
exactly. But no,
Zach, I respect your spider observations. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I called Zach down to deal with it, and he looked at it and went, oh. So it was a spider. And I called it Shelob. I told him that Shelob or her mother, I had said Ungoliant apparently.
It's her mom.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So I think about this frequently. I guess.
Yeah. So do those live a really long time? Not the real ones, the Shelob and whatnot.
Oh,
in Lord of the Rings.
I think so. I would assume so.
Because doesn't the Silmarillion take place thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
I never read the Silmarillion.
I know that some of the moms and dads, for lack of a better word, of the monsters were more like gods, and so they lived longer.
Okay.
How old is Shelob?
So
that makes Shelob somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 years old by the time Frodo and Sam encounter her.
Wow. That's very old.
Yeah.
This, speaking of moms and dads of spiders and stuff, I'm sure you know this. We like to talk about weird, unexplained moments on our podcast. That psychic moment between me and our mother, where I told our mom that I had this I was like, I don't know exactly how I phrased it. I was like, it was a really bad dream. It was not a good dream. It was bad. And I don't know how I said it. And then she said, what, did you dream you slept with someone gross and gave birth to a monster baby? And I said, yes.
Oh my God.
I dreamt I slept with an ex.
Oh.
Given that it was a bad enough dream, I won't, no one I'm still friends with. And I dreamt I gave birth to a spider monster.
Oh God. I thought you were going to talk about the time when you were on the phone with Mom and you were at college, and on April Fool's,
we don't have to bring this up.
No, we do. That she felt like she told you essentially that you had a spider on your shoulder. And you were on the phone and you freaked out.
She said, because she used to say that as an April Fool's when we were in the same place.
Yeah.
And she said, I just have this feeling that you have a spider on you. it freaked me out real bad. So, yeah.
I can't remember why spiders
impressive.
got brought up, but yeah, go on.
I have no idea what. Shooting them. Anyway, Mulder.
Right.
There's shaking. There's lights. There's an alien or something. And indeed, Mulder sees the figure of an alien kind of like outline the silhouette in the doorway, and then he passes out. And then he comes to, and Scully is there being like, oh, thank God you're alive. And he's like, I have proof. I have all this proof, finally. And then the Blue Beret crash retrieval team shows up. And again, maybe it was a dark navy. They look like black berets to me. And they come in and they're all like, let's shoot stuff. And Scully's like, we have to go. And that's when Mulder, as you remembered, wants to bring this man's body with them. And like, I don't know, put a hat on him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was pre 9/11, but I have to think
that's a pretty big one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they just let you take bodies.
I mean, we flew before 9/11. We still needed ID and a passport. Well, you don't need a passport for Puerto Rico. Still, flying domestic, you still need an ID. And I would say, Mulder works for the government. Maybe he pulled strings, but the whole thing is he doesn't trust anyone.
Right.
So did he quickly get a George Hale ID made? Did he already have one? Like,
that's a good thing to keep on hand.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it is. It is a good thing. Like, if I were them, I would definitely have fake IDs on hand. Like a whole stack. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, can I say something that's Lord of the Rings related before we get too far away?
Yeah, this is
today.
Yeah, we can just make this our Lord of the Rings podcast.
Yeah. Ooh, don't tempt me, Frodo.
Nice.
Today is the 21st of September. And so tomorrow is my dear friend Ellen's birthday. Her birthday is the 22nd of September. And if you ever forget when Ellen's birthday is, you can Google when are Frodo and Bilbo's birthday. They all three of them share a birthday. September 22nd is also Frodo and Bilbo's birthday.
Frodo, Bilbo, and Ellen. I didn't know Frodo and Bilbo shared a birthday. I should have known that. I feel kind of embarrassed.
You really, because
that's
the whole thing.
Could see the look on Helen's face when I said that. It was just like your eyes were just like,
it's like the whole thing in the beginning. That's their.
Well, I know it's throwing the
Bilbo's 111th birthday, and I think it's a big one. Is it Frodo's 50th? Maybe
that's what I'll do for my 50th.
Ooh,
throw a party with a hobbit.
Fireworks and beer and
no fireworks unless we do the silent type. I've seen them traumatize my dog too much.
Oh,
sparklers!
Gandalf did them.
Sparklers.
Yeah.
Well, sure. If a wizard wants to light off fireworks at my 50th birthday, I will allow that.
Okay.
So, how old is Frodo?
33. Okay. All right. Oh man, that sucks because. Just like what Ellen's going to be 37. So like 4 years ago, it would have been.
Ellen's going to be 37?
Yeah.
Really? Sorry, Ellen. I thought she'd be 36.
No, because I'm 35, which means Molly, our friend Molly, who I'm just bringing up because of this, and because sometimes she listens. Hi, Molly. Is turned 36. And then Ellen and Molly are the same age for a bit, and now Ellen is turning 37.
Okay. All right, fair enough. You would know better than me. I don't know why I'm questioning it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how old you are half the time now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It gets tough because I got to keep track of the time of year. I don't know. Which I manage to. It's September. So yeah, they do take the tape reel out of the jungle, which Mulder thinks will have proof.
They leave his body.
What the proof would be exactly, because they do at some point, like when the aliens are coming in, the stuff that Mulder said to Scully starts getting like replayed in like deep, scary, slow voice. Trust no one, and so creepy. But I don't know what the tape is gonna prove.
Right.
I don't know. And then. I really don't know what to make of this next scene. And so maybe you'll remember it. Maybe you'll understand. Mulder is in Skinner's office. Skinner's yelling at him. This is like, he's like, you abandoned your post. You were supposed to be listening to this dude who talks about the offspring and strip clubs, and you just disappeared. That's not okay. Discipline, blah, blah, blah. And then cigarette smoking man is just kind of pacing and smoking. And then Mulder's like, we had enough to bust those guys after 3 days. You're wasting my time having me do that.
Okay.
And then cigarette smoking man is like, your time is over. You'll leave with nothing. And then Skinner kicks cigarette smoking man out of his office and is like, okay, go back to work, Mulder. And Mulder's like, you were just about to discipline me and suspend me and all this stuff. And Skinner's like, no, just go back to work. And Mulder's like, well, are we going to arrest the guys I was, doing surveillance on? And he's like, no, we need more data. That's it. And I'm like, what changed? Why did cigarette smoking man being like, you get nothing, make Skinner be like, oh, I don't like this guy. He's kind of mean. I kick him out. I don't think that's it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It makes me feel suspicious of Skinner.
Yes.
Even though I know we don't need to be.
No, but we wouldn't have known that in 1994. I mean, for a long time, it's unclear where his loyalty lies. Yeah. So Mulder and Scully listen to that reel, and it's totally blank. And then, Mulder says something sort of positive, like, oh, I might not have the X-Files, but I have you and I have myself. And he goes back to listening to the tape of the guys talking about the stripper. And then Scully leaves, and then Mulder starts to listen to the totally blank audio tape again, and the episode ends.
Okay.
It's sort of a weak ending, sort of a like, nothing really changed. And I feel like, I don't know, it felt a little bit of a letdown at the end. I feel like it was fine, but it surprises me that it isn't better, especially because the Erlenmeyer Flask is so good.
Right. The last episode of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I haven't seen this one much. I think I probably watched it and then didn't really feel a need to watch it again. Yeah. Like there are some I know like very, very well, and this is not one of them.
Yeah. And it's not like it's one that has a reputation for being horrible.
Right. No. Right.
It's just kind of like,
Some of those are coming up in season 2. Stay tuned.
Horrible
there's
ones?
right? Aren't there the 3? Isn't that in season 2?
That's right. And that one has a reputation for being horrible, not because it's like offensive to modern sensibilities, like a lot of the ones we talked about in season 1. But more just it's supposed to be real bad.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I think because it's supposed to be real bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've seen it. I remember vampires.
Okay.
And I think it takes place in California. I've seen the
Smoke Man. Oh, okay. Okay.
How have you not seen
I don't know.
Smoke Man? He's great.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear your take on him.
Me too. I'm looking now to see if I have any parasitology textbooks. I don't think I do. I've got bacteriology, pathology, the microbial challenge. Yeah, I don't think I have any. That's too bad. Maybe I'll have to get one.
Mom is running an art challenge. You should run a microbial challenge.
Where we discover one new microbe a day.
5-day. Yeah, we're like on day 1 we're gonna look at our toothbrushes, and I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I feel like it'd probably be gross.
I thought we'd just learn about one.
I guess, but I feel like it should be experiential.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Look at one under a microscope.
Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe
culture something.
It could involve challenges in the manner of a microbe, like something a microbe would do. Like, could you live as a microbe?
Yeah. We won't try to be aerobic though. We should always be aerobic. We won't try to be anaerobic. That would be bad. Without oxygen.
I was going to say, I think oxygen's involved, but that's all I know.
Yes.
Wait, what does that have to do with microbes? I thought that was like our muscles or something.
Oh, well, let me tell you. So some bacteria are anaerobic, meaning that they need environments without oxygen.
They need environments without oxygen.
Yes.
They're like anti-oxygen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so like those ones that live in like deep sea vents and stuff, would those be anaerobic?
Yeah.
Or do they have oxygen?
Well, I know, like, so I had a root canal semi-recently and it got infected, and they gave me clindamycin, which I believe works
Yeah.
against anaerobic bacteria, because even like if you have, my tooth was like sealed up. So whatever would be
Oh,
thriving there. I mean, there's oxygen coming in through my blood, but it still wouldn't be, you know.
so okay. Are there bacteria in our stomachs?
Um, yes, sometimes our stomach is a very, very low pH, and so most bacteria can't survive there. So like when we eat something, most of the time the bacteria will be killed that we eat.
And that's good.
Um,
And that's
it's
good.
very good. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But we
Yeah.
have some just bacteria who live within us, right? Is that
Oh,
true?
yeah. Oh God, what is the? I feel like I said this on a podcast before.
You
The
made me guess like what percent of
yeah,
our
how
body
many?
weight is bacteria or something.
Yes, yeah. How many
Ugh,
pounds of the average
ugh,
person is
ugh,
bacteria?
ugh,
1 to 3.
ugh. That's
And
like a ferret.
there are
It's like that's the
10.
size of a ferret, Helen. That's a ferret. It's a
Aw,
ferret's worth
oh,
of
I'm so
bacteria.
happy.
Oh.
Um, but there are 10 times more of them than human cells in a human.
So their cells must be tinier.
They are much tinier.
Yeah, obviously. Like there's no other conclusion I could draw there. Yeah. Um, so so are they anaerobic because they're sealed up in our body? Like if they live in like my gut or
Oh,
something?
so no, those are not necessarily anaerobic. So most of the time, the ones that are good for us are aerobic. Um,
Oh,
so things like I don't know if you've heard of Clostridium.
no.
Um, okay, C. diff. Have you heard of C. diff?
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay, yeah, that's Clostridium difficile. Like French for difficult. It's
Like
real hard to
difficult?
kill.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Is there
and
like Clostridium facile? Like easy to kill?
oh, I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't think so. Um, so most of the time, because our body is really oxygen rich, so like even I mean, we have blood going basically everywhere in our
Yeah, I have some
bodies. And
questions
so,
about that, but we'll let them go for now.
no, I'd like to know what your question is about that.
Everywhere.
Uh-huh.
In all our organs except our brain, right?
I mean, blood has to get to our brain.
I thought there was like a barrier.
Yeah, there's the blood-brain barrier, but like there still is brain, or still is brain. There still is blood coming to the brain tissue. Like it's not like, I mean, it's
Oh,
not flooded with blood like, say, our liver or something.
when you say
Um,
flooded, is it just like a wash in blood? That can't be.
no, no, no. We're not worms. So we have closed circulatory systems as
So
opposed to
we've
open.
investigated worms on this podcast before,
We
and
have.
it's going to be a great transition for next week's episode.
Yeah, and
Lots of worms.
I can tell you we are not worms.
Okay.
So we have closed circulatory systems, meaning everything's in blood vessels.
Okay.
But capillary beds are where the exchange of oxygen happens, and they're only one cell thick. So it's really, really
okay.
easy for things to get in and out. And so that's what I mean by like flooded by. Like there's a
Okay.
higher percentage of capillary beds.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never
So.
thought about blood vessels literally being like a vessel. Like this is a thing that carries blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
So
Yep.
I believe you were telling me something else.
About bacteria?
I think so. I don't know.
About how we
most
don't
of the
want to
ones
be
that live in
anaerobic.
us that are good are
aerobic.
Aerobic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been the microbiology hour with Helen Warner.
Yeah.
Like we should. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like next week will really be the microbiology hour.
Is that the same? Well, it'll be like parasitology though. Is that the same?
Yeah, there's some overlap. So like some parasites are not microbes. Some microbes are parasites. There's some overlap there. Worms, I would not call a microbe. No.
Okay. And this guy is definitely not a microbe. He's a macrobe. He's big.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
if
a
he's
man in a suit.
person,
He's awesome.
then
yeah.
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 Oh, I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
I can't wait. I can't believe you've never seen that. I'm sorry,
I don't
as your
think
older
so.
sister.
I feel like, is there a part that happens near a doghouse outside or like a
I
shed?
don't know. I don't know.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah. Next
Until
week.
next week.
Yeah. We'll
Great.
watch
Well,
The Host, season 2,
we're
episode
back.
2. We're back.
And yeah.
We still don't have a great sign off.
Nope. See you next time. Bye.
Do, 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 do.